You're here for the Owls Show, the Owls Who Live Sports, all about supporting the KSU Owls and raising money for their sports program. Here with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney.
How you doing, Chuck?
If I was any better, I'd be Robert Kinney. Thank you for being here. We're talking about KSU sports tonight, and we would love to get your comments. Feel free to text us at 470-9-GO-OWLS. That's 470-9-GO-OWLS, and we're all about supporting KSU athletics. So let's get right into the show. We've had a very good week athletic-wise at KSU. Let's go over some of the things that have happened, and I will have to put on my glasses to be able to read my writing, even if that helps. So in the North Alabama Showcase, we had the men's cross-country team come in 19th. The women fared much better at 5th, which is pretty cool. The women's golf team came in 2nd at the Nittany Lion Invitational in Pennsylvania. Meva Schmidt was the leading owl at 2 over after 3 days, so that was pretty phenomenal.
Shot a final round even par, I believe.
She did shoot a final round even par, so that was great for the Owls. And even better, Raul Garcia win the singles title at the UCF Fall Sizzler, defeating Sam Paquette of Cornell 6-1-7-5. Didn't even take a set off of him. So congratulations to Raul Garcia. Robert, what can you add?
Well, I want to go right back to, I think it's Meva Schmidt. Sorry that I'm mispronouncing your name. But she's from Bali, Indonesia. So I want to find out what it's like from somebody who's from Bali, the place that everybody else wants to go to, and now you live in Kennesaw.
We had
somebody. Be quite of a culture shock.
Well, who was it we had on that was from Cameroon? Was it William Fabu?
Yes, it was.
So we've got athletes from all over the world here coming to KSU.
We definitely do.
And one of the things that we want to talk about real quick is this show is to raise NIL money for the KSU athletes to keep them here in Kennesaw. If you give $500 to the Georgia program or to the Georgia Tech program or even somebody like Alabama, that's not going to make much of a dent in their athletic budget. But $500 means a lot to the KSU program, and it means really helping somebody and being a part of KSU family sports like Will and Garrett and all the other people that come out and support the Owl Show every week. So if you're interested in supporting the Owls on a sponsorship level or a NIL level, please reach out to us at 470-9-GO-OWLS. That's 470-9-GO-OWLS.
And just to follow up on what you're saying, Chuck, I would venture to say that if you gave I'm just going to say a $5,000 donation to, UGA, Georgia Tech, maybe Bama Lama, you're still not meeting anybody after that. It's not like you're getting the athletic director's attention or anything else. I think with your donation, you see how far it goes with all of the people who reach out to you. And as you said, there's so many KSU people here, and they all want a new buddy.
You're not buying anybody a new car at KSU, and that's something the Texas A&Ms, and I know they've got $30 million in their coffers, but they don't have that here at KSU yet.
But imagine, if Texas A&M has all that and they can't beat Appalachian State, what that could do to KSU athletics. So, come and join us, make a donation, and come to a game. I don't care what kind of game you're talking about. At the end of the show, we'll go over what's going on the next week. There's a lot of things, and, you get to actually meet people.
Absolutely. We'll see to it. So, Robert, you had something else you want to add about what happened in the athletics department this week?
Correct. I wanted to talk about the soccer team real quick. Freshman Allie Bryan scored the only goal in the women's shutout win over Jack State. That was the women's soccer team's second shutout in a row. And Alana Blythe, the goaltender, was responsible for both those shutouts. So 2 straight shutouts. Now we're into the A-Sun schedule. But the one thing that I wanted to point out about Allie and Alana is that they're both freshmen. So whenever you have a team that's kicking some butt and you can look at it and go, oh, yeah, and you get her for another 4 years, a lot of reason for optimism when it comes to what this program's got going on.
A lot of good things going on in the athletic department, and we'll talk at the end of the show about all the great things that are coming up this week. And I mean, it's fall now. Beautiful. The weather is going to start really getting great on Friday. But one more day of 92-degree weather, and then it's back in the 70s, which I love. But one of the things happening this weekend is our first home game in football with the Wofford Terriers. Isn't that right?
That is.
The Wofford Terriers. And there have been a lot of changes in terms of tailgate possibilities and what's going on. So we're going to bring on our good friend and number one fan, Mr. Carrick Martin, to talk a little bit about what the changes are for KSU tailgating this week. So welcome back, Carrick, as always. Have a seat there. Get your headphones on. Welcome to the Hoot seat again.
Hooty hoo.
It is absolutely wonderful to be here and to have the great Donnie Gossett in the crowd today.
Donnie, put your hands together for Donnie Gossett, everybody.
Donnie Gossett!
Donnie, all right. So, Carrick, Robert, and I were just talking about the tailgate changes of what's going on.
Well, there's 5 things that everybody needs to know about the game this weekend, and one of them is tailgate in park with over 750 spots in the black lot. If the black parking lot had been redone, last year it was cut in half, so they were kind of tight on space. Now they've expanded it. But they want everybody to try to tailgate there. Don't know that they've done a great job communicating it. But everybody go read KSUOwls.com and look for 5 changes from last year. That's the first one. Second one is it's cashless. So,
Way of the world now.
you know, you can't hide anything from the IRS, okay?
Maybe
So, third thing is
One would think.
all tickets are digital. So, you got to have a phone or some other method. So,
That's to tailgate?
no,
That's just to get in the game?
that's
To get in the game,
so.
okay.
The fourth thing is you have to have a clear bag. If you're bringing something in, please have a clear bag because they're going to turn you around if you don't.
Even like a purse or something? Can you bring in a purse anymore? Wow, clear bag.
Clear bag. I
Don't
think
take
you
your
can have
purse to
a
the game,
tiny
Robert.
little thing like that with hide your cash that you can't use at the stadium. So gates will open 60 minutes before the game.
And kickoff is at 6 this week, right? So 4:30?
60 minutes would be
minutes, John.
5 o'clock.
I thought you said 90 minutes. I'm
I
sorry.
know that you went to McEachern, but 60 minutes before 6
Don't laugh at
o'clock.
him, Aaron. You're going to make him think he's funny.
I am funny. Thank you, Aaron. I'm going to tell her a dad joke before she goes on the air, too, to get
Okay.
her laughing. The Owl Town, which I am the mayor.
The mayor of
mayor
Altown.
of
The Owl
Maynard
Town
G.
is
Krebs.
kind of like, and I know y'all probably didn't learn this in McEachern, but there's a famous play called Brigadoon about a
Brigadoon.
mythical town that reappears every so often, which Owl Town is reappearing this weekend.
That's
like
fantastic.
that.
So that is where you can
It will
go.
be reappearing in the black lot
No, it will be reappearing next to the stadium.
next to the stadium.
Yeah,
Next to
there will
Fifth Third
be
Bank.
live bands, free food from JD's Barbecue, sponsored tents. Excuse me on that, and it's going to stretch along George Busby Parkway, which is right there by the stadium.
Right out
And,
here, yeah.
There will also be a variety of selections, including beverages from Wild Heaven Beer and Dry County Brewery. So Dry
gotta
County
like
has
that.
been a great sponsor of KSU. So
Love me some Lechuza.
Trey Sinclair, shout out to him, who's also on the city council in Kennesaw now. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Along with Tracy Vyers.
Yes. So the Stars, the football team, Zion and the other gentleman here,
Is it Isaiah?
they will get out. Their buses will roll up at 4 o'clock, and they will get out of those buses, and we'll do the owl walk as they walk from the buses into the stadium. They have to walk a couple hundred yards. They're in good enough shape to do that.
I hope so.
So anyway, that will happen at 4 o'clock.
For somebody who's never been out to a game, Carrick, is that something a must see? Kind of really get behind the team
Yes,
and
it's a very good thing.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
There will be food trucks and concessions in the stadium this year. Premier Events will provide all the concessions, and beer, wine, and hard seltzers will be available for sale in the stadium, which those sales will end at the end of the third quarter.
Because we want everybody driving home safely
Yes. So
from Fifth Third Bank Stadium.
so that is the changes this year, or the updates, and any questions y'all might have.
Well, number one, I appreciate you stepping in and doing that. And number two, I'm very much looking forward to you co-hosting next week with me when Robert's on vacation.
Hootie hoo.
Hootie hoo to
Robert
Carrick.
going to Wyoming and Montana. Oh, by the way, if you go to Bozeman, Montana,
I will not be in Bozeman.
okay. Well, anyway, the Owls are 1-0 in Bozeman, Montana.
I might talk some smack through Utah and
No,
Montana.
don't do it in Utah because we're 0-1 in Utah.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
who was it they played out there?
Weber
Weber
State.
Weber State, yeah.
And I understand they were quite rude.
Yeah, that's what I remember Garrett telling us something like
Quite
that, or
rude,
somebody
so-
that went.
Anyway,
So we look forward to seeing you next week as my co-host.
Yep.
And until then, how about a big hootie hoo for Carrick? Hootie hoo! Hootie hoo! All right, Carrick. We're going to do a commercial while we get around.
Yep.
So next we have our athlete of the week on, Miss Erin Harris. And Erin's going to be sitting there coming in. Everybody welcome Erin. Yeah.
Right now.
So Erin, get settled in while we do a commercial, would you?
Do you need a delivery right now? Is it in Go Now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Memphis to Charlotte, Atlanta to Athens, or Augusta to Dothan and all points in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express, with their live tracking capabilities, is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at BearcatExpress.com.
Are you getting close to memorizing that?
It's getting close, but it'll probably just come out in my subconscious. But you know, I'll still always read it.
Okay, that's great. Erin Harris, welcome. Get right up on the mic so we can hear you nice.
A nice round of applause for our KSU Athlete of the Week.
Thank you, thank you.
Erin Harris from Peachtree Ridge High School, is that right?
Yes, that's where I went.
Yeah, we read a little bit about you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I always start us out with a really hardcore, in-depth question. You ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so they're deciding to redo the movie Mean Girls, and you are in charge of the movie.
Casting.
So it has come down to one question, and that's, what school do the Mean Girls go to? Is it North Gwinnett or Collins Hill?
I'm going to say North Gwinnett, just because I'm a hater when it comes to
Well, no, you're allowed to be a hater. I don't think you like either one of those schools, right?
No,
Being hater is a good thing on this show.
Yeah.
that's my job.
We're okay with that. So, how did your high school career pair out against those two teams?
So Collins Hill was always our rival because they were, frankly, just better at soccer than North Gwinnett. North Gwinnett was still good, but when it was the locker room, Coach Hill was always speaking about Collins Hill. We would train against, like, Collins Hill. We'd have their forwards, like, our forwards try to play their style so we could, like, train.
Right.
But when it came against North Gwinnett, we would just play our soccer. We didn't adjust anything, you know. So I'm going to say Collins Hill.
Okay. So you used to take them behind the woodshed pretty well as far as North Gwinnett. They were never.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they were terrible. They were good.
Oh, you
but
can.
Collins Hill was definitely the team we had to try our best
I
to
gotcha.
beat.
So, looking up at some of your many achievements at the school, I got to ask you. It appeared that you have 5 game-winning goals.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
And so my question is, what's it like to have a game-winning goal? I mean, because you usually know if you kick one in the 87th minute, you know that's the game winner. And so,
Yeah.
you know, how does it feel? Do you start to strut a little bit more? I know all the girls are coming over and high-fiving you and all that kind of stuff. What's it like?
It definitely is like, at first, when you first score any goal, obviously, you're going to be really excited. But when it's especially the 87th minute and it was 0-0 or 2-2 and you get that game-winning goal, you feel obviously a sense of, like, congratulations. You're happy for yourself. You're excited. All your teammates are hugging you, screaming in your face.
You know
and
at
then
that point
get
you
stressed
belong.
out. You get a little stressed out afterwards because you're like, oh, we got to keep this lead, you know. So
Right, I want the game-winning goal. We can't-
Well, what I find very hard to believe is that you didn't know how many you had. Because I'll tell you right now, when I was a JV in high school, Second overtime, double overtime. I hit a shot at the end of double overtime. And, I mean, this was JV, but everybody from the high school game was in there now for the girls' high school game, and they were carrying me off on the shoulders. I will never forget that. So I don't know how you can forget that how many game-winning goals you had. So I'm very impressed by your humbleness.
Oh.
So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm sure if people were carrying me off the field, I would remember it.
Yeah. Well, carrying me was a lot heavier load than what it would be carrying you. So.
Probably so. Probably. So, what brought you to KSU?
Well, I was junior in high school, senior, and I remember Benji reaching out to me, and other coaches were reaching out to me, but none were as nice or welcoming. Also, a big thing were the dorms. That was nice. But
Brand
also,
new dorms is always a good thing.
yeah, the dorms were a big thing for me just because I had always heard, like, in college you had community showers, and I was honestly terrified to death to
Been
have
there,
to
done
deal with
that.
that. So I was...
My oldest daughter went to UGA, and her dorm was 89 years old. So, yes,
No.
it's a different world.
They had outdoor showers in there. They didn't have indoor plumbing.
And then I'll say the colors because my dad's a Steelers fan. So the black and yellow, I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Kennesaw was always a front runner.
So what other schools recruited you?
So I was looking at Kennesaw State, Columbus State. I can't even remember the other two, but those only four. Yeah, I never went out or like sent out. I didn't know how to get recruited.
So you didn't self-promote to be
not
recruited?
at all.
Yeah.
I think I definitely, I guess, should have thought that through. But yeah, I was very
It
happy.
sounds like it worked out for you.
It did work out for the best. I'm happy. I'm very happy about how my college soccer career went.
So how do you like the northwest side of town compared to the northeast side of town?
Well, this might sound dumb, but which one is what?
You're in northwest side of town now.
Okay.
Peachtree Ridge is northeast. I
Not
think.
the Sewanee.
In Sewanee, is that what it is?
Sewanee.
Sewanee.
Swanee. Okay, yeah. Kennesaw is definitely cool because of everything feels homey here. The people's culture is a little different. In in Swanee, it's more suburban, more family. Like you're going to like a play or a movie that's like a kid's cartoon movie. But in Kennesaw, it's obviously a college town, so
I gotcha.
it's more fun that way. Yeah.
Well, and there you go. So, people watch the show and people don't know, but here's a young person who's looking at Kennesaw as a college town. The same thing that we keep talking about on this show. One day we'll be there. It is there if you're that young.
It is definitely
This is
there.
the whole town.
Yeah, it's definitely there. The drive might be further than other, like UGA, you can walk, but it's definitely there. So don't think that we just sit in our dorms and like read. That's
Now,
not
are
the
you
case.
are you still at school?
No, I graduated like a year and a half ago, I think.
And what did you graduate in?
Psychology was my major.
Oh, we're in trouble.
We're not. Cut the segment. Cut the segment.
She's looking at us and I'm like, something's wrong with these guys.
Yeah, I'm reading your mind right now. That's everybody's reaction when you tell them your major, psychology. They're like, oh, don't read my mind.
So what are you doing with it now?
That's actually why I was laughing because now I work in IT at Emory. So.
Oh, you work at
nothing-
Emory University?
Yep, I do, down in Atlanta.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's a huge difference.
Sometimes it doesn't matter what you get a degree in. As soon as you have a degree, people know, hey, this girl has what it takes, and she's got to go with it attitude. So,
Yeah, I think,
for you.
yeah.
And we know that soccer is a strenuous sport. It's not an easy sport to play. You have to be in tip-top shape to run and run and run. What did you play other sports as well, or?
When I was little, but I played soccer since I was like 3. I quit soccer for a year when I was like 8 to run track, but that was even more running, so I hated it, and I went back to soccer. I tried volleyball. It wasn't my thing. I don't like throwing myself at the floor, so kudos to those girls.
For going out and getting those digs.
Exactly,
Yeah.
I could not.
Not for you.
Yeah, I just always kept coming back to soccer, so.
So, since you graduated a year and a half ago, are you in a pickup league at this point?
Oh yeah. So I actually tore my meniscus in my senior year, the championship game. Yeah, but I recovered and now I have been playing pickup. And my friends have a sports roulette league, so every week we play like a different sport.
That's
We actually
cool.
lost the soccer one though. But yeah, I did play at Silverbacks.
Nice.
It's team, so that was kind
So
of
that roulette league sounds really cool. So basically,
is.
it's just a bunch of athletes, and you guys really don't care about what sport it is because I'm an athlete and I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, basically. And then
That's
if you
pretty
have
cool.
a team that's, not athletes, then you're going to win. So it's nice either way. Yeah.
So what was the coolest KSU event that you went to that did not revolve around soccer? Something that you stumbled into and you were like, wow, this is great. I don't even know any of these people, and this is a fun event.
That KSU hosted or like our friends?
Yeah,
Okay.
KSU.
Definitely around homecoming.
Okay.
When they have in the convocation center, they have like a Meg Thee Stallion come. That was definitely the highlight. I love her.
Are you going to ask it or am I?
You are.
What is Mega Stallion?
No. Can I play a song? Actually, I cannot play a song because it's probably got bad words in it.
Oh.
But you should definitely look her up.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's a performer.
Oh yeah, she's a female rapper.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
She's
not.
awesome.
Yeah, I'd not heard of Mega Stallion.
We weren't going to guess that, right?
No, we weren't going to guess that. We didn't. We didn't want to go there.
Wow, yeah. She has songs with like DaBaby or any famous.
So when you first heard about it, you were kind of like, she's here, she's coming here. I mean, it's like way bigger than.
Yeah,
It's not the Eagles or Chicago. It's Mega Stallion.
that's literally how I felt. Yeah, she's pretty. I love her, so it was a big deal to me.
That's awesome.
Maybe other people were probably like, "Oh, I wish it was Drake," but she's awesome. Yeah.
I got a drink right
you
here.
liked her above. If it would have been Drake, you'd have been less happy.
Well, I'd be a liar if I said that. I do think Drake is. He has obviously great music too. Yeah, I'd have to go Drake over Meg.
Okay.
But he's a guy rapper.
He's
She's
a guy
the best
rapper.
female rapper.
He's from Canada though, so you know
Yeah.
that's like down a couple
Eh?
notches just because.
Yeah.
Eh.
So I'm thinking rap is your favorite genre of music.
It's definitely up there. But I drive a lot, and I don't like to listen to rap when I drive because then I'll speed. So I'd say my
Music will
favorite.
do that
Smart
to you,
girl.
won't it?
Yeah. So
She paid attention in all those classes she took.
yeah, I tried my best. So probably like indie. I don't know if you know what that is. But yeah.
That's
I do know it.
INDIE, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Mega Stallion, no. Indie, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the one thing that made you come to KSU? If you had to say, love the community, love my coaches. When you came here, you met great people. But what was the moment when you said, by golly, KSU is my school?
When I saw the bathrooms.
When
And,
you saw the bathroom.
and it was my own room, basically. Yeah. It just, you open it up, and you have your own shower, your own sink, your own toilet, and you don't have to share, because that was a big deal for me. I
Hey.
grew up an only child, so
You've always had those, and you would expect nothing less.
I was not ready to give that up.
To all of our fans out there, please pass this video. Make sure somebody else goes to see this. There's a lot of kids who are planning on going to school in the next couple of years and want exactly what you're describing, but might not know exactly where to get it.
Yeah, ARC. Go to ARC.
And based on what Aaron's saying, there are no finer bathrooms at college than at KSU.
It's one of my main concerns when I go somewhere, so I'm
Absolutely.
all about that.
Like the bathrooms here at Miller's Ale House. I'd
Very nice, very nice.
rather not go anywhere else than the bathrooms here. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that's an answer we haven't had yet. And by the way, you're our first female athlete. We're very excited
Oh, wow.
and honored that you are here with us today. So that's really cool.
It's pretty nice.
All right, so I always ask a food question.
Okay.
So
Are you a foodie too?
Yes, kind of.
but being a smaller person, but being in a sport that has so much running involved, I'm sure your schedule for eating was very particular. So did you eat 3 or 4 hours beforehand? You just do something right up till the point you don't care, you can run on anything, or how did you do it?
So if it was a game, I probably wouldn't, just because you honestly do feel, if you just eat before your game, you do feel heavier,
Right.
even if it's maybe a pound or so, but it definitely, in my opinion, affects your game. But if it was practice, I would probably eat in the car on the way to practice.
But during a game, you are literally starving?
No, not starving. I'd probably, if our game was at 12, I wouldn't want to eat past 10:30.
Okay, but that's still pretty close.
Yeah.
I've got something that we've never asked any of our athletes before. Kind of like that hour and a half before you. Do you have any superstitions? Anything you did before games?
Yeah, I have a ton.
Oh,
Great question.
Charlie, you may have to wait a little bit. This girl's got a lot to say. We're not through yet. Go ahead, Aaron.
So when I was in college, our assistant coach was Chevy Chevalier, and he would always make fun of me for eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before every game. Even if it was 10:30, I was eating peanut butter and jelly. If our game was at 6 p.m., I was eating a peanut butter and jelly. If our game was at 8 a.m., I was eating peanut butter and jelly. It didn't matter. I had to have peanut butter and jelly because I just felt like I like sweets. And I could get away with eating a peanut butter and jelly and not having to eat something that was like kind of healthier for me. So I'd always eat a peanut butter and jelly. I had to switch my socks. My right had to be on my left.
Regardless of how good the last game was?
Regardless.
Okay.
Because I would think, oh, this would mess it up. So I'd have to do that.
So you have to look at the toes and see which one line up?
It had an R and an L on it.
Did you do that while you're in the bathroom that you love? Did you switch right to right?
It was a big
Possibly.
bathroom. She had plenty of room.
She had plenty of room to write
Possibly.
R and L on her socks.
Yeah, the most stressed I was ever before a game was when I only had 2 right socks. And I was very stressed out because I was like, we're going to lose.
Did you have a game winner that game?
I don't even remember. It was so long ago.
So, it's funny that you were talking about superstition and the Steelers earlier. I went over to a friend's house and watched football this weekend, and they were talking about their superstitions. They do not wash their jerseys as long as the team is winning. But as soon as the team loses, they wash their jerseys and they change them. They trade them. So, crazy people out there.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that. I feel like they and their gut, they probably smell really bad.
Oh,
so I wouldn't want to do that.
So, as a peanut butter lover, what is the go-to
Always
peanut
gonna
butter?
go crunchy or smooth.
Definitely smooth. Never crunchy.
It's got to be extra crunchy, but
No.
at least get the brand right. Come on, I'm praying for you.
Well, you can't be eating nuts when you're getting ready to run. You need smooth peanut butter.
Well, do
Makes
you want to
sense.
know a fun fact?
Fun fact. I
No.
love fun facts.
Oh, we love fun facts on this show.
So, I used to eat Jif, J-I-F, I guess. I don't know if you say Jiffy, Jif.
I've heard of that.
Used to be my go-to, but now I only eat the almond butter.
Okay.
Wow.
It's better for you.
It is better than 40. You know how I know that? Whenever my wife tells me that she's going to start eating good, there's always a start. It always starts with a big thing of almond butter.
Smart woman. She's on
Yes.
something.
So peanut butter and jelly an hour and a half before the game, and left socks become right socks, and right behind socks become left socks.
You
What
had
else?
to have 2 hair ties, and the ref would sometimes be like, take it off. So I would like kind of put it in my sock and then put it back on later.
Oh, Put
I
it
always
under your
had-
jersey? Or?
Yeah. I had the amount of times I had to hide a hair tie was ridiculous.
I don't understand. Why are you hiding a hair tie?
Because
So-
you're not allowed on the
Yeah, the refs would sometimes say that it could be a hazard or you could hurt somebody. with
like
a
him
hair
grabbing
tie.
your hand by
So
mistake
you can
or
have
whatever.
braids, but you can't have a ponytail.
One time, I used to have gold decorations in my braids, and a ref tried to make me take them out. But I was like, sir, no, it's not going to work out like that.
Again, only child. I'm going to get what I want. I like this.
But I'm still lost on the whole thing. There's no ponytails.
Oh, like am I?
No, if a girl on your team wanted a hair tie to
Oh.
have a ponytail,
Yeah.
is that okay?
I would. So yes, there'd be situations like, say, like my friend Sosa would get into like a tussle and she'd lose her hair tie. They would go flying. I'd give her one like very reluctantly because now I only have one left. So
And that's
I'm
not
feeling
good
off.
luck.
No.
Certain colors?
No, they're always black. I do
Oh.
not like colored hair tie.
Okay, always black.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I don't think the last time I owned a colored hair tie, maybe I was like 14.
And we all know when you were 14, you were not as worldly and as awesome as you currently are.
Absolutely.
Maybe I was. I don't know. I'm just kidding. No.
No,
Maybe you
colored
were.
hair ties, and obviously that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
So, a couple of more questions. Robert, do you want to ask your other food question that you like
No.
to ask? What is your go-to breakfast?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm gonna say oatmeal. I love oatmeal. I get a lot of hate for loving oatmeal, but yeah.
What?
It'll-
Any particular flavor? Or?
maple syrup.
Okay. I'm an apples
the
and
green
cinnamon guy.
packet, I think is the apple one.
Correct.
Apple,
And I
apple
like-
cinnamon.
You like
Yep.
the brown on
I
brown.
like brown and green. Yeah.
Oh, you
Brown
like
and
to
green.
combine the two.
Sometimes, but that's a lot of oatmeal. So if I'm doing one, it's gonna be one.
I do apple cinnamon with a lot of butter. That's
But-
my favorite.
That might
But
be
you're inexpensive. I was going to say cheap. You're not a connoisseur of the what do they call them? Steel cut. Some people eat oatmeal and they would never shake their little bag and I think they call them steel cut oats.
Yep, by Quaker.
Yeah, it's like
Something else I've never heard of.
it's the fancy version of oatmeal.
Yeah, it's
basically
okay.
what it is.
Well, that's really cool. I'm learning so much today.
If you cook your oatmeal with milk, it's way better than water.
Yeah, I've tried that before. It's
You don't
pretty
like
good.
it?
Yeah, I
Oh.
do. Yeah. I'm a big butter guy, so
I'm
I'd say
okay
like
with just a little milk after it's already made, just a little topper.
I put like a pound of butter in 1 cup of oatmeal and then melt it down and then
Go ahead and call 911 now. Chuck's arteries are shutting down.
Chuck's arteries are clogging up. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Well, I guess our last question, Robert, would be why should other athletes want to come to KSU?
Besides awesome bathrooms.
Besides awesome bathrooms.
Honestly, the friends that you'll make, people will say, oh, other colleges, but I would come for the friends that you'll make because Kennesaw is not like any other college, and I'm sure other people would say that about their college, but it is going to be like a smaller community, so you're going to have closer relationships with your friends. If you go to UGA and you make a friend, they're going to be meeting so many people a day. They're going to be caught up in all these other things. At Kennesaw, they're still going to get caught up in other things, but just the community, like earlier 9 to 5, I'm sure, I don't know about any other colleges, but there's so many opportunities for you and your friends to bond and be closer. Like for me, it was a soccer team, obviously, because I played soccer. But most of the time we hang out wasn't even in soccer. The ARC would have a little event going on, so we'd all text each other. We're nervous. We don't really know each other. Do you want to go? And then you go, and then you're close, or you're walking by the convo, and they had a camel or some animal, and you're like, hey, do you want to stuff an owl with me? So just little stuff like that they do a lot. It brings you guys closer. Cause
Is that like Build-A-Bear?
They had a Build-A-Bear owl. I didn't get to go. I had class, but my roommates went together, and I was so upset. But yeah, just a ton of little events that they'll do that I feel like will bring you closer to your friends. So
That's
I guess
awesome.
the community.
So you want to recap for Aaron what we talk about every week, and we've already talked about it once on the show, but about what giving to the KSU program means?
So you have the NIL money for name, image, and likeness. And if you're donating for athletes like Aaron or for the school in general, you're really making a difference in all these kids' lives, as opposed to maybe a 5-star quarterback down the road off 316 who's never going to meet you and never going to see your money. I was reading some of the events going on later this week in KSU sports, and one of them was make sure you bring the family because the whole team's signing autographs. That doesn't happen at all these other places. So bring your family, bring your checkbook, and start looking at KSU for where your kids are going to want to go.
It's the second largest school in the state of Georgia, and people need to know that. And we need to get more people supporting this football team, the soccer program, tennis, women's volleyball, whatever it be. We need to get them supporting KSU athletics. So I will send you off with this. You are the first guest we've ever had that brought her own bodyguards with her. She walked in with 2 football players from the KSU team. Current players, yes.
So you graduated. She's still hanging out with the.
So she obviously requires attention, and she needs to be protected wherever she goes. So, Aaron, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Thank you so much.
All right, it was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
We'd love to have you back sometime, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Aaron. And she wants to bring a friend on, right?
Yeah, Cameron Downs. She's
Oh,
my best
cool.
friend. Love her.
Love to have you back. Thank you, sweetheart. Everybody put your hands together for Aaron Harris. Hootie hoo! Welcome back in the hoot seat anytime she wants to be. That's fantastic. All right, so Robert, let's get our other commercial in, and we'll get our fan of the day, Miss Charlie Renfro, in here.
I just want to say before I read the next ad that how awesome was that? Not only she was asking us questions.
I know it.
And super awesome. All right, here we go. Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper. Your turn, Chuck.
Do I even have to say this on this show?
You do.
Okay, go Dogs. Go Dogs. Forgive me, Mom. Go Dogs. And
headphones for you.
yeah,
For me?
yeah. So everybody welcome Charlie Renfro to our first set. Our first female fan of the week. We're very excited to have Charlie here. Oh, yeah. So we got some applause. Look at that. The much better half of the Will Renfro family. I can say that right now.
I just want to say, I don't know how many times she's been interviewed, but did you see how quickly this went this way to make sure the hair didn't get messed up?
She don't mess up. We talked about that one time.
She's not playing games.
She's not messing up her hair. Charlie, welcome.
Thank you.
No, thank you. We appreciate you being here. As our first female fan, you were a fan before you met Will, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us how you got to be a KSU fan.
Well, Will was one of those guys that the first time he went to college, he majored in girls and didn't do so well. But then he decided
Will and I got something in common.
he went back to school at 40, night school full-time, worked full-time, and then he graduated from Southern Poly in 2013. And then they announced the merger with KSU. So he said, it's my alma mater. I'm all in. So I'm like, okay, yeah, football. Nah. Then he took me to a game in Montana.
Oh, he said, yeah, you wanted to go to that
Yeah,
game.
I was going to say, I heard it a little differently. You were told there was a game in Montana, and you informed him
volunteered.
that you were
Begging
going.
was involved from what I remember Will telling me.
Probably. But I had been to several games with him and met several of the players' families and just absolutely fell in love with them. And I mean, lifetime friends. Like, I have actually coordinated the weddings of two Kennesaw football players.
You're already taking my questions away.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. That's
Go ahead
what-
and answer that question, Robert.
Well, that question would be: some super fans have jobs that go much further than the sidelines. What can you tell us about how involved you've gotten in some of these kids' lives and what you might have done for them?
Well, I have done weddings for two Kennesaw former football players. I've met their families with them when they get, all excited about being engaged. Hey, will you help us with our wedding? Sure, no problem. And then it escalates into, hey, can you come help us coordinate our wedding? Absolutely. Can you do flowers for our wedding? Of course. Sure. Travel to Florida for weddings, travel to Savannah for weddings. So we make it a date. It's wonderful. And
So how are they coming out of the woodwork to pick you for this?
Is it something you did before?
I did. I have done weddings for many, many years. And so I offer, hey, if you guys need to talk about anything, if you have any questions, I've done weddings since I was 18. We're not going to talk about how many years ago that was.
10.
Look
11
at you,
tops.
so sweet. So we decided, hey, if you need any help, let me know. And they've reached out for questions, and then I'm like, hey, how about I give you this as your wedding gift? And that's how it came to be.
That's
KSU
pretty cool.
super fan wedding coordinator.
And cookie maker, from what I understand.
And how many cookies did you make for the team?
600.
600. And
600.
Did you just throw those in a big box and just let them have it?
Well, we were I'm sure Will has told you about us traveling with the team.
Okay.
That he won during a silent auction, and it was an incredible experience. Well, I'm that person. I don't go empty-handed anywhere. So I was like, a lot of these guys are away from home. They don't, their moms aren't there. They don't get, homemade cookies. So I thought that I would bake 600 cookies and individually
kind?
package them. Oh gosh, they were chocolate chip, peanut butter,
You
sugar.
did all sorts of stuff.
Yes, all sorts.
An assortment
White
of
macadamia.
cookies.
Yes, just
Chuck, I could tell you wanted to ask a question a second ago. Go ahead.
You
and
know
say
what
it.
my question
I
is,
think
don't you?
I think it
I
was.
think you do. So she says she doesn't go anywhere Where are cookies? That's what I want to know.
That's what I knew he was going to go there.
Okay. All right, so let's lay this on the line here. You guys ambushed me when I walked through the door.
And we're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm
So
fine with that.
I didn't have forewarning to know to bring you cookies, but I'll take care of that the next time I'm here.
But you said you never go anywhere. You were still coming here.
Hey, I just want to say that
Crush
when
daggers, Chuck, daggers.
Oh, no, we still love you, Charlie.
When we ambushed her at the door and she went, okay. Not exactly
Wait, how did she say that
most
again?
people.
How did she say that again?
Okay.
Do I sound
As
like
long as I don't have to mess up my hair.
That was just very cheerful. That was my cheerful.
that was your cheerful voice.
Very cheerful voice. So tell us some about some of the adventures on the road, because you said you went to Montana. Where else have you gone, and which one is your favorite one you've been on? Probably the Montana one, right?
Montana is, yeah, that's probably
This is the
my
one where it
favorite.
snowed, right?
That was snow. We stood in the stadium in 6 inches of snow. It was incredible. And the sights were just wonderful. But being there with the Kennesaw families and just being able to watch, I call them my boys, and they may not appreciate
Well, it
that.
sounds like you're in charge of most of their weddings, so I understand why you're calling them that.
But so many people that just sit, show up, fair weather fan. But when you sit with these families and you watch, maybe there's a play that's not so good, and there's somebody who doesn't know your child saying unspeakable things to and about them, you as a mother, that's hurtful. I have inherited that. People ask me, well, which one of these is yours? And I say, all of them. They're like,
The
really?
team mom.
And then I kind of explain, my husband's an alum, we travel, and have talked to several of the parents who are out of state. Say, look, we're 15, 20 minutes away from the school. Your child needs something, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to. I've dropped chicken noodle soup and essential oils off on Chandler Burke's doorstep while his mom couldn't get to him. It's the things that moms do. And I like being a Kennesaw State team mom.
I need to give
awesome.
Charlie my address. I could use some chicken noodle soup.
I can do that.
I'm sure.
Some cookies.
And some cookies.
Cookies
Chicken
for
noodle
dessert.
soup and cookies.
Absolutely. So, Montana in the snow. Where was the other? Did you go to? Is it Weber State in Utah?
No, I did not go to Weber State.
That's why they didn't win, Chuck.
Because Charlie was not
Because
there,
I was not there. I didn't go to ETSU either.
and they lost there.
And they lost there.
Do you see a pattern here, Charlie?
I was doing a wedding. I couldn't really get out of it.
One of
Was
the
it-
football
was it a
players'
players'?
weddings?
It was not a football player's wedding.
Hopefully not on the same day they're playing.
No,
yeah, that
absolutely
wouldn't
not.
be good.
Absolutely not.
So have you branched this out to other athletics around the school and let them know, hey, if you want to get married, I want to be your wedding court?
I have not. Now, we are getting more involved in other athletics at the school. We've been to baseball, basketball, been to some soccer. Haven't been to volleyball yet. I'm going to have to try that.
They've got a very good
I've
team.
heard it's great. I met one of the volleyball players at one of the Kennesaw State football players' baby shower.
Yeah.
And she was quite impressive.
Did you coordinate that baby shower?
I did not. I did not.
Just weddings.
Just because you weren't asked, though, correct?
Maybe.
So other than football, what's your favorite sport to watch?
I'd have to say baseball.
Well, if you have to, go ahead. That's fine.
Baseball.
So Coach Co, and I'm still trying to find somebody that was there when Carrick threw out the first pitch. Were you there when he threw out the first pitch of the baseball game?
I was not.
Carrick,
I'm
did you
sorry,
really
Carrick.
throw out the first pitch? Because
He did.
every
There's
week
video.
we ask somebody, were you there? And everybody says, no, I don't think you really did it.
I heard it was a four-seam fastball.
Four-seam, just a bit outside.
It was before COVID.
It was before COVID. Yeah, it was a long time ago. So, yeah, Coach Co's done a good job with the baseball club. And
Absolutely.
won't be long before baseball season's here.
Fall sports are in wide open gear right now, so
Okay, it's crazy how much they've got going on this week.
We'll be warming up again.
So we'll get you out of here with this question. What's your favorite go-to breakfast?
My favorite go-to breakfast. Am I cooking it or am I going out?
No,
to have
you're going to eat whatever you want to eat for breakfast.
Somebody else is taking care of you this time.
I'm going to have to go with an omelet, like a really good meat lovers, lots of extra cheese, no onions and no bell peppers, please.
If you and Will are staying somewhere and when you wake up and go to breakfast, there's that little guy over in the corner who's making everybody's omelets. That's like the sign of a great day on the way.
Yes. Now, Will and I have a rule. when we are out of town, we cannot eat anywhere that we can eat at home.
Oh, I like that rule.
I don't blame you there.
So
I tried to do the same
We've had
stuff.
some really good adventures when we were in
No franchise restaurants.
no franchise restaurants.
Yeah.
When we
Unless
were
it's
in
Millerville.
Montana,
I was gonna say the
of course,
same.
Miller's. When we were in Montana, we found this incredible little place that had Captain Crunch French toast.
Wow.
I used to know a couple, and they were a very large couple, so I'm just throwing that out to start this conversation. But they used to make fried chicken, and they made the fried chicken with crushed
Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch, no crunch berries, just the peanut butter, you know. But I'm like,
Jeez.
what's that like?
On
in
your
there?
fried
It's-
chicken?
Yeah, that's the only.
was the
thing.
batter,
it was
right?
It was the breading. It was the batter, and supposedly it was the most amazing thing. I still scratch my head thinking I probably would like it.
I'm not sure about that. I don't like sweet in my savory chicken, but the French toast was fabulous.
I love that.
Awesome.
Toast.
French toast.
French
It's good stuff. Well, Charlie, thanks for being with us.
Well, thanks for having
Awesome
me.
to be our first female fan of the week.
Female fan of the
Ta-da.
week.
You shall be back.
Can never be another first.
We're kind of in a rut here because we've had Will on the show to do our picks for the last 2 weeks. So I think we're going to get Will back in here and let us discuss our picks. And I bet he
Excellent.
doesn't put his headphones behind his ear. I bet he'll wear them over his head.
I bet he will too.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you
Good
so
to have you,
much.
sweetheart. That was awesome. Put your hands together for Charlie Renfro, ladies and gentlemen. That was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Man, have we had a good show today or what?
And I'm just throwing this
Aaron
out.
and Charlie?
We need more girls. Because, you know, I mean, no offense as big man sitting down, but girls have been ruling the show.
I'm sure that Will would probably agree with that concept.
Yes.
According to his wife, that's all he majored in his first 4 years.
All right, so
And you know, she said I didn't do too well. She didn't clarify whether it was school or girls.
And I wasn't going there.
no, we didn't want to ask that question at this point in time. So we're here to make our picks for next week. 5 games this week, only because we have our first divisional game or conference game this week. So we're going to get into the ASUN picks with another trip around ASUN. So let's get right to it. I must say that last week I was 3-2. Overall, I am now 12-5 in the ASUN. So obviously, I need to stick to the ASUN more than I need to the other college and pro games because.
Well, and I'm not trying to pump you up anymore or knock you down, Chuck. But it is different when there's no spread.
I totally agree. And even the ones that I thought I had right last week, I didn't get right because there was I really thought Jacksonville State had a chance going into Tulsa.
Woo. Oh, they didn't do well.
Not. Yeah,
that
so
was-
that was
blasted.
that was one of my 2 losses last week. So let's get into this week picks. Central Arkansas Bears at the Southeast Missouri State Red Hawks. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Central Arkansas.
Central Arkansas. Robert,
I'm going with the directional school.
the Southeast Missouri State.
Oh, wait, they're both directional schools.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Southeast Missouri State.
Yeah, Central's not really direction. It's kind of a lack of direction, right?
Well, it all depends if you were on the northeast, south, or west side.
Well, if you're on the
then
west side,
Central-
then it's east.
well, then
if you're on the east side, it's west.
Get back central.
It's Central. That's what I'm talking about. All right, here's Chuck's Chump. The Bears are coming off a win at Idaho State, but the Red Hawks are coming off a pair of wins and are at home. After their first win, the Bears cave again. Chuck's Chump, Central Arkansas. You like that? That was pretty good. Wasn't it?
Pun intended.
No pun intended. There you go. Game number 2, Jacksonville State Gamecocks versus the Nichols Colonels. I didn't know there were that many Colonels nicknames in college football. Now I know 2.
Yes, and we didn't know about any of them until not long ago.
Exactly. So who you got, Robert?
Going Jack State in a big rebound game. I don't think the major, the sergeant, or anybody else is going to help the Colonels this week.
I would agree that not even Colonel Mustard.
No, I think Jacksonville State's going to have to. They're going to have to rebound.
They're going to have to rebound, and not even basketball. So, after getting blown away by the Hurricanes in Tulsa, the Gamecocks' feathers were a little ruffled. But this week they travel the Colonels of Nichols down in Thibodaux, Louisiana. They will drop more than a dime on the Nichols, maybe even a 50-cent piece. Chuck's Chump, Nichols Colonels. I love Will's laugh.
How late were you up writing that one?
Very, very late.
Okay.
So late that it sounded good to him. Yeah.
It's bad when you lay in bed at night laughing at yourself and nobody's there to appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, okay, game number 3, Tarleton Texans versus the North Alabama Lions. Have you even heard of the Tarleton Texans?
We did a couple weeks ago on this show.
I know, we talked about that. Was my first time.
Yeah, and they're on our future schedule.
Oh, are they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, because they're in the WAC, I think is what it said on
They're pretty whack.
on their website. They are WAC.
Way out there, Coast.
So are you taking the WAC Tarleton Texans,
No,
or are you taking the North Alabama Lions?
Well, now North Alabama, if I remember, they didn't do too well against Chattanooga, but I think they're going to do better this week.
Yeah, they got clobbered 41-14 against Chattanooga last week. So.
Yeah, I'm going North Alabama as well. Maybe it's a directional school, but it's not called Tarleton.
Well, let me just say this about that. Just like we do in most of our picks on the other show, I can't go with you, Roberts. The 2-1 Texans come into Florence, Alabama off of a high-scoring affair, while the Lions were snake bit by the Mocs in Chattanooga. Being home in the Lions' den is not enough to shoot down the Texans. Chuck's chump, North Alabama Lions.
He probably had tears running down his face as he penned that one, thinking, oh my goodness, I have finally cornered the market.
So you think. All right, game number 4, the Eastern Kentucky Colonels versus the Austin Peay Governors. This is going to be a good ball game.
Austin Peay, they've been putting up a lot of points, right?
Yes, they have, averaging almost 40 points a game.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to translate, but because they really hadn't played anybody that good.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think they're going to continue to roll.
Let's go P.
Let's go P.
That's what Will's saying.
Please wait a few more minutes until the show's over.
Thank you.
I said last week that P wasn't going to win another game, and they put another big spot up. So
Alabama A&M.
I'm doubling down on P's not winning another game. Give me Eastern Kentucky.
The Colonels for Robert. Once again, Robert, we disagree. The Colonels take the last train to Clarksville for this state affair. The Colonels have led the troops to a couple of pretty impressive wins over the last couple of weeks, and both teams are scoring a lot of points. Only because of the home field advantage can I go against the Colonels. I am staying on the P train. Chuck's chump, Eastern Kentucky Colonels.
I got a question for you. Just
No,
out of
don't ask me
curiosity.
any questions.
The last train to Clarksville. How many people watching at home do you think actually knew that was a song?
I was just
And then
monkeying
you were
around. I was just monkeying around.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just
Don't
teeing
go
it-
ape or anything, okay? I was just
teeing it
monkeying
high
around.
for him.
The fact that I understand this
Yeah,
conversation
that's
is really
That's not good either. That's not good either.
All right. So we're down to our last game, and we all know
Down to
who
our
it is.
last game.
Can I have a big hooty hoo for the Owls this weekend? Hooty hoo. Well, the Wofford Terriers at the Kennesaw State Owls. I know it's silly to ask, Will, but
All right, so we've got some news this week. I don't know if you've heard, but we're changing our starting quarterback.
I have not.
So we potentially, Coach said that as of today, that Murphy is the starting quarterback, who had been second string the first 2 games. He's played in a lot of games. He's got the nickname Murph Magic, and he got that name against Wofford. So I think that's going to do really well for us. And also, a couple weeks ago, I said, hey, we're getting our starting center back. Well, he didn't play against Cincinnati. He dressed out and made the trip, but he didn't play. So we've got our starting center, and
That's huge.
the guy that was playing center is now moving out to tackle, so we don't have the true freshman starting at tackle anymore. So we've got much of our line is back. So I think we're going to be well improved, and I think our run game is finally going to start clicking. So I think Kennesaw is going to win.
Will takes the Owls. There's a surprise.
There's a shocker. Hey, before I make my pick, which I'm sure nobody can see coming either, Will, can you tell me a little bit about that jersey that you're wearing? There's probably
please.
people watching at home and wondering, where's this Will guy from? Why is he a Texans fan?
That's not Tarleton Texans.
This is
is
not
not.
Tarleton, Texans. So this is a former player, an OG. He was on our first season. He was a defensive lineman. His name is Azoya Alufaha. And he got injured and he didn't play his senior year. And he petitioned for a medical red shirt in the NCAA, and their great wisdom. They didn't grant it. So he actually ended up doing a rehab year at West Georgia. And then he went on and got signed a free agent contract. He didn't get drafted, but he signed a free agent with the Texans. And when they expanded their roster midseason, they moved him from the practice squad to the actual team, and he got in a game. And when that happened, that was the first player from Kennesaw to ever play in an NFL game.
Awesome.
So that's an answer to a trivia question 40 years from now was who was the first player to ever play in an NFL game.
Not to
Number
mention you
98.
have it autographed across your chest there.
And
I hope you weren't wearing that when he autographed it.
Well, I couldn't have been, or he'd had to bend over a lot because
Yeah.
he is a big guy. As a defensive lineman in the NFL, he is a big guy.
Hey, you know,
Large dude.
I love the show Jeopardy, and you saying that this could be a great trivia question. I hope I don't ever have to say his last name
Or his first name.
and get it perfect for somebody to give me credit on that one.
Well, we just called him Big Z.
Big Z. I'll
That
say
I can
Big
handle.
Z,
Big
and I
Z
can
is
do
all
that.
right.
I can do that. Hey, by the way, there is a game, and Owls big. The Owls are going to be early. The Owls are going to be often, and I have no doubt that black lot is going to get everybody pumped up before the game.
There's no doubt about that. Should I do my Chuck's Chump? Do you even know? Do you have a clue who it might be? All right.
I don't know.
All right, the Wofford the Terriers, come to Fifth Third Bank this weekend, and the Owls finally play a home game. The Terribles have scored 7 points in 3 games. That's less than a field goal a game. On Saturday, we will mark the spot in the end zone many times, time and time again. The Owls will put up more points than the Terriers may this entire year. Chuck's Chump, the Wofford Terriers. So there we go. There we go. We've got our picks in for the week, and we are ready for some football this weekend.
Already.
All right. So we want to talk about what else is coming up this week. We know we got a football game on Saturday,
Tons of stuff coming up.
but so much
Volleyball
happening.
game Friday night, I believe.
Yes, we do. We'll start with the women's soccer team. They host Queens College Friday night at 9:22 at 7 p.m.
Queens College is not good, so we're going to win that game.
And then they host Liberty University on, I guess it's Monday, 9:25.
That's Sunday.
Sunday? Okay. My math is off here. Women's volleyball. They play North Alabama 7 p.m. on Saturday? Nope, Friday. And the Central Arkansas Bears at 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Yes.
So a lot of volleyball going on this week. And, of course, we know that the football team hosts Wofford at 6 p.m. Wallops Wofford. Women's tennis at the Mercer Gridiron Classic Friday through Sunday. The women's golf at the Red Sky Classic in Walcott, Colorado to the 26th to the 8th. The women's golf team gets to go to some cool places.
That would be the NCAA sport to play.
Yeah, last week they were in Pennsylvania, and this week
Correct.
they're in Colorado.
And not to mention, they were in Pennsylvania the right time of year.
Absolutely.
There's the wrong time to
You
be.
don't want to be playing
Absolutely.
golf in Pennsylvania in December or January. And then the men's golf team at J.D. Poston's Invitational in Sapphire, North Carolina on Monday and Tuesday. So lots and lots of KSU sports fans to support this week and sports teams. So we will wrap this up for another week. Hooty hoo to everybody out there. Will, Charlie, Aaron, thank you guys for all being here, and thank you for all the Owls fans being here. And we'll see you next week on the Owls Who Live Sports.
Hooty hoo!